In the journey of faith, challenges are often misunderstood as roadblocks that hinder progress. However, from a biblical perspective, these trials are not merely obstacles. They serve as essential tools for spiritual growth. Throughout the Bible, it is clear that God uses adversity to shape, strengthen, and mature His followers, preparing them for something greater. Rather than punishing His children, God's intention is to refine them, much like a craftsman molds raw material into a masterpiece. As it is written in James 1:2-4, believers are encouraged to consider it pure joy when facing trials because the testing of faith produces perseverance, ultimately leading to spiritual maturity. Examples of this divine process are evident in the lives of prominent biblical figures. Take Joseph, for instance, who faced betrayal, slavery, and imprisonment before rising to a position of influence in Egypt. His trials were not random. They were instrumental in shaping his character, deepening his dependence on God, and equipping him to save an entire nation during a time of famine. Similarly, Job's story illustrates that God sometimes allows suffering to test and strengthen faith, revealing a deeper understanding of His sovereignty. Despite losing everything, Job's unwavering trust in God led to restoration and blessings far beyond what he had before. Challenges also serve to expose the true condition of the heart, revealing weaknesses and areas in need of transformation. For many, it is during difficult times that hidden fears, doubts, and character flaws emerge. This exposure is not intended to condemn, but rather to guide believers toward a closer relationship with God. By confronting and addressing these vulnerabilities, individuals can experience profound growth and emerge stronger in their faith. Moreover, challenges are catalysts that push believers out of their comfort zones, compelling them to seek God more earnestly. The urgency of navigating a trial often drives deeper prayer, meditation, and reliance on Scripture. These spiritual disciplines become lifelines that sustain and grow the believer's faith, preparing them to handle even greater tests in the future. It is through this process of being stretched and tested that God equips His people for the extraordinary plans He has for their lives. In essence, God's use of challenges in spiritual development is both purposeful and loving. It is a divine strategy designed to foster resilience, refine character, and draw His followers closer to Him. Through adversity, believers are prepared not only to endure the struggles ahead, but to thrive and achieve the great spiritual breakthroughs that God has destined for them. Adversity serves a unique purpose in the life of a believer. It acts as a refining fire for faith. Just as gold is purified by being subjected to intense heat, faith is refined through the challenges that test its strength and authenticity. In 1 Peter 1:6-7, the Apostle Peter likens the trials faced by believers to the process of refining gold, emphasizing that faith, when tested, becomes more valuable than precious metals. This purification process removes impurities, strips away false beliefs, and reinforces a genuine dependence on God. The refining nature of adversity is seen throughout Scripture, where God uses difficult circumstances to shape His followers' hearts and minds. The story of Abraham serves as a powerful example. When God asked him to sacrifice his son, Isaac, it was not only a test of obedience, but also an opportunity to refine Abraham's trust in God. Through that intense trial, Abraham's faith was both tested and strengthened, leading to God's reaffirmation of His covenant with him. Similarly, the Israelites' journey through the wilderness was not just a punishment for disobedience. It was a period of refinement where God tested their faith, taught them reliance on His provision, and prepared them to enter the promised land. Adversity also has a way of revealing and dealing with the deeper issues within one's heart. When difficulties arise, they expose hidden doubts, insecurities, and areas where trust in God may be lacking. This process of revelation is not meant to bring shame, but to invite transformation. It is during these moments that believers often come face to face with their limitations and recognize their need for divine intervention. By confronting these inner struggles, a deeper and more mature faith emerges, one that is anchored in God's promises rather than in human understanding. Furthermore, the process of refinement through trials cultivates essential spiritual virtues such as perseverance, patience, and humility. James 1:3-4 explains that the testing of faith produces perseverance, and perseverance must complete its work so that believers may become mature and complete, not lacking anything. Patience is learned as one waits on God's timing amid difficulties, while humility is developed as believers acknowledge their dependence on God's strength rather than their own. These qualities are essential for spiritual maturity and equip believers to handle future challenges with grace and steadfastness. The refining of faith through adversity is not an easy process, yet it is vital for spiritual growth. Through trials, God strips away what is unnecessary and refines what is valuable, shaping His followers into vessels fit for His purpose. The experience may be painful, but the result is a stronger, purer, and more resilient faith that is prepared for the greater spiritual breakthroughs that lie ahead. Building spiritual resilience is a fundamental outcome of enduring life's challenges. Resilience, in a spiritual context, refers to the ability to maintain faith and steadfastness in God despite adversity. Much like physical muscles grow stronger through repeated resistance, spiritual muscles are fortified through the trials that test and stretch faith. Every challenge overcome becomes a stepping stone that enhances a believer's ability to endure greater hardships in the future. David's journey provides a vivid illustration of this process. Before facing Goliath, David had already encountered smaller yet significant trials while tending his father's sheep, such as defending the flock from predators like lions and bears. These experiences built his confidence and trust in God's power, preparing him to confront a much larger challenge. Similarly, each trial faced by believers serves as preparation, equipping them to tackle more daunting spiritual battles with increased faith and resilience. Trials also foster resilience by teaching believers to respond with faith instead of fear. It is common for difficult circumstances to provoke anxiety and doubt. Yet when one chooses to trust God in the face of uncertainty, resilience is cultivated. Romans 5:3-5 highlights this process by stating that suffering produces perseverance, which in turn leads to character development and hope. Each time a believer navigates a challenge through faith, they build a stronger foundation that enables them to confront future difficulties with greater courage. Moreover, spiritual resilience is nurtured by the understanding that God is always present, even in the midst of trials. The belief in God's steadfast presence acts as a stabilizing force, offering comfort and encouragement during tough times. Knowing that God walks alongside His children in every struggle reassures them that their suffering is not in vain, and that every hardship has a divine purpose. This realization helps to build a resilient faith that does not easily falter under pressure. The development of spiritual resilience is not just about enduring trials. It also involves learning to grow through them. Each difficulty becomes an opportunity for believers to deepen their relationship with God, relying more fully on His grace and power. Through this, they are gradually transformed into stronger and more mature Christians who can inspire others and contribute to the spiritual growth of their communities. In conclusion, spiritual resilience is the result of repeated exposure to life's challenges, each one strengthening the believer's resolve and faith. This resilience is crucial not only for personal growth, but also for fulfilling God's greater plans, as it prepares believers to rise above difficulties and embrace their calling with unwavering trust in God. Trusting in God's sovereignty is a central aspect of enduring trials with faith. It involves recognizing that God's wisdom and plans are far beyond human understanding, as stated in Isaiah 55:8-9. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways. Believers are called to trust that God orchestrates all circumstances, including the difficult ones, for a greater purpose that may not be immediately evident. The story of Esther provides a powerful example of trusting in God's sovereignty during challenging times. As she faced the daunting task of approaching the king to save her people, Esther could have succumbed to fear and doubt. However, she chose to trust that God had placed her in that position for such a time as this. Esther 4:14. Her faith in God's timing and sovereignty empowered her to take action, leading to the deliverance of the Jewish people. This demonstrates that even when circumstances seem dire, trusting in God's control can lead to miraculous outcomes. Trusting in God's sovereignty also means accepting that His methods may not always align with our expectations. There are times when believers may not understand why God allows certain challenges, yet faith requires surrendering control and believing that His plan is perfect. This trust is especially tested when prayers appear unanswered or when suffering persists. However, enduring faith involves holding on to God's promises, knowing that He is faithful to fulfill them in His own time and way. Furthermore, embracing God's sovereignty brings peace in the midst of trials. When believers acknowledge that God is in control, they are less likely to be overwhelmed by worry or despair. This understanding enables them to face life's uncertainties with confidence, assured that God is working all things together for their good. Romans 8:28. Such peace is not the absence of trouble, but the presence of trust in the one who governs all things. Ultimately, trusting in God's sovereignty is about having confidence in His nature, His goodness, wisdom, and faithfulness. It allows believers to navigate the uncertainties of life with a steadfast heart, knowing that God is always at work, even when His ways remain a mystery. Enduring challenges is not only about overcoming the difficulties of the present, but also about preparation for future spiritual breakthroughs. Often, significant blessings and growth occur following periods of intense struggle. This principle echoes the biblical truth that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Psalm 35. The story of Daniel highlights how enduring trials can lead to spiritual breakthroughs. His unwavering commitment to God, even in the face of persecution and the threat of death in the lion's den, resulted in not only his own deliverance, but also a powerful testimony that influenced an entire kingdom. The trials Daniel faced were crucial in setting the stage for God's miraculous intervention, illustrating how breakthrough moments often come after believers demonstrate steadfast faith in the midst of hardship. Spiritual preparedness is essential for handling the blessings and responsibilities that accompany breakthroughs. God uses trials to mold and shape character, ensuring that believers are ready to steward the gifts and opportunities that lie ahead. Without this preparation, sudden blessings could overwhelm or lead to pride. Through adversity, God teaches humility, dependence, and a deeper understanding of His ways, equipping believers to handle greater spiritual victories with maturity. Moreover, preparation through trials ensures that believers are spiritually fortified to face future battles. Just as soldiers train rigorously before entering the battlefield, spiritual resilience developed through adversity prepares believers for the ongoing spiritual warfare that is a reality of the Christian walk. This readiness is critical for sustaining and advancing in faith long after the initial breakthrough has occurred. In summary, enduring trials serves a greater purpose than immediate relief. It prepares believers for profound spiritual breakthroughs and equips them for a life of victorious faith. The journey of faith is inevitably marked by trials, yet these challenges are not without purpose. God uses adversity to shape, refine, and prepare His followers for greater spiritual achievements. The process of enduring trials produces resilience, builds trust in God's sovereignty, and prepares believers for breakthroughs that lie beyond the struggles. Through stories of biblical figures such as Joseph, David, and Esther, it is evident that challenges are a divine strategy for equipping God's people to fulfill their destiny. Ultimately, embracing trials with faith and perseverance leads to a deeper, stronger relationship with God, where believers are transformed and ready to rise above future challenges. The promise of spiritual growth and breakthrough is not just a distant hope, but a reality for those who endure with a steadfast heart. Thus, believers can find comfort and strength in knowing that every challenge faced is a step closer to the great spiritual victories God has in store.